Fill in the papers I've just given you with 3 little words. God is dead.
I'm David Arrowhite, and I'm on the set of God's Not Dead 2. In God's Not Dead, it was about a student taking a stand for Christ in the classroom. On God's Not Dead 2, here we are in the public courthouse. What would you do if you shared your faith in Jesus Christ with someone and it was deemed illegal? Would you be brave enough to take a stand in the public square knowing that you could lose everything?
We're having freedoms infringed upon that we, in my generation, grew up enjoying, and when there wasn't any question about anybody impinging on them in any way.
The timely issues in this movie are going to create that same sort of thing that we saw in God's Not Dead 1. But we poured in the time in the script, but most importantly, we poured in time in prayer.
The battle, so to speak, was in the classroom with the first movie. This time, it's in the courtroom. So I think that's a very natural progression in that sense.
This deals now with another issue that America is faced with, and it's really a freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Christians across the United States were feeling like their voice had been taken. I think we just wanted to delve a little bit further into that and say, okay, what's really at risk here?
We sort of find these characters where we find ourselves going, let's have this conversation. Why is it okay to talk about certain things, but we can't talk about other things? So that's really what the movie's about.
This female high school teacher who teaches an AP history class, a faith-related question comes up from one of her students who is comparing the teachings on nonviolence of Gandhi and Martin Luther King to Jesus. And she says, oh, this seems like there's a parallel here. And the teacher comments on that just honestly. And the whole world, then once she has said the J word in class, in a public school, the world starts crashing in very quickly.
I think like a huge problem in society is that nobody wants to have a discussion. Everybody wants to pick sides.
It's, inappropriate to talk about any sort of religious leader or religion of any kind in school. So I think it's great that we're finally talking about the elephant in the room and standing up for saying, why can't we talk about those kinds of things?
The moment someone stands up for their faith, it gets a lot of attention because it's kind of rare. When it should just be natural, it should just flow off of our tongues, but it doesn't because people are scared, what are they gonna say, what are they gonna think?
Like any of these movies, you really want the passion to be ignited again and for people to stand up for their faith, just like Grace in this movie stands up and she won't just let it go easy, or Josh in God's Not Dead 1. They all could have said, yeah, I'll write God is dead on a piece of paper, I'll get on with my life. And a lot of us do that. When that challenge comes to us, we really need to step up to the mark sometimes. And I hope that this movie does that. I hope that awakens that passion that we have for our faith.
We have to love everyone, which is what Jesus calls us to do, so we would constantly give ground. Jesus told us to hold our ground, in other words, to say what we believe, to spread the gospel, but to do it lovingly.
If I found a really great skincare line, and I love this and I wanted to tell you about it, why wouldn't I do that with something that I found that brings me joy and comfort and peace?
I play Tom Endler. I'm Grace's union-appointed attorney, hired on from the public defender's office. He's not a religious man, he's not a Christian, but he sort of comes to respect Grace's religious integrity.
For me, when you feel challenged on your beliefs, especially some of your core beliefs, I think it is important to seriously look at it.
That's what I think these kinds of movies do. They kind of challenge us to begin to question and find the answers. In the end, we're going to be a much stronger church if we do that.
Every time you ask a question, we learn more, but then at the same time, because we learned more, there should be more questions. If there are no more questions, then we're not doing our jobs.
That's what I'm hoping that's what this film sparks, is that conversation of, as believers, what does it mean for us to stand up for what we believe?
There's always a cost to something that's right. There's always a cost. There's people who will oppose you and they will kill you for your beliefs. But if you stand strong, right always is victorious.
With the message of the film as well, I feel like it's a great movie, but then it's also got a great message, and that just comes together. So, I feel like if you liked the first film, you're gonna love this one.
Michael mentions it from stage every night now, and when he mentions that there's gonna be God's Not Dead 2, it's one of the biggest roars of the night, because people are just so ready for this next movie, so we can't wait.